Technology is here to stay. Artificial intelligence is here to stay. How we channel that resource is going to really determine our ability to be effective with our students moving forward.
Welcome to episode 78 of the LoraineCounty.com Insights Podcast. I'm your host, Ed Skimmon. Before we get into today's episode, I want to thank the LoraineCounty.com champion sponsors: Lorain County Commissioners, Community Foundation of Lorain County, Lorain County Community College, Lorain County JVS, Emerge Inc., and WOBL Radio. Today, we're talking with Superintendent Michael Zalar of Avon Local Schools. Join us as Superintendent Zalar talks about the unique qualities of the Avon schools, his focus on student-centered education, and the importance of community support in strategic planning. He shares insights on updating the school's master facilities plan, enhancing technology and curriculum, and the critical role of safety, social-emotional support, and innovation in education. My family and I moved to Avon and into the Avon School District in 2018. Since then, we've seen firsthand how central the schools are to the strength of the community. Last year, my son was a freshman on the Avon football team when the varsity squad brought home the state championship. It was an incredible experience for him and for our family, and it was inspiring to watch the entire community rally around the team. The Avon schools clearly play a major role in shaping both student opportunities and the overall quality of life in Avon. Here's my conversation with Superintendent Michael Zalar.
My name is Michael Zalar, Superintendent of Avon Local Schools.
Welcome, Superintendent Zalar. Thank you for joining us and sharing your insights. To begin, how would you describe the character of Avon Local Schools, and what do you think makes it unique and special?
I've really been impressed with the pride that people have in their schools and in their community here. I think they have a deep sense of caring for their students. Students really are the center of our operation, so everything we do is to do what's best for kids and to keep them at the forefront. People have a great deal of enthusiasm about the schools and the community here. I would describe it as a relentless search for excellence in everything they do. Academics, athletics, extracurriculars, just everything. They're pretty amazing.
So you're the new superintendent of the schools. What are some of your priorities and initiatives?
One of the things that I'd like to do this year is to begin doing some strategic planning with the district. They're at the end. Their strategic plan expired last year, so it's in a good place where this is a good time to pick it up and maybe reassess what the initiatives that were in it the last time around, see if they were able to accomplish those things, and then maybe develop some new goals, some new objectives, and see where we want to go in the future.
How do you define success at Avon Local Schools? What metrics or outcomes are important to you and your team?
You define success by doing what's best for kids, and that's something that's not always easy to measure. Certainly the state defines success by how we perform on various testing measures, standardized tests, and the district's done very well there. We're a very high-performing district. We have a lot of great support, a lot of great resources here in the community, but really I think you define success by doing whatever you need to do to prepare kids for their future. And whether that be going off to a four-year college or entering the military or entering the workforce out of high school, we want kids to be ready for whatever college or career opportunities that they pursue.
Schools serve a lot of different constituencies, students probably being the most important. From your perspective, what's the most significant opportunities and challenges facing students in Avon right now, and how are you working to support their needs?
Trying to keep up with everything. The world is such a fast-paced place these days. We're competing with technology. We're competing with all the various social media platforms. There's just so many distractions that are trying to get the attention of kids. We want to make sure that we are able to help them focus on the right things, the important things that are going to really have a significant impact in their future, what our curriculum, the things that we're doing here at school, and then just all the educational experiences and opportunities that we have to provide kids.
Both of my parents were teachers. So what are the things you're doing to support teachers and make sure that they're successful?
Teachers, they're our greatest asset when it comes to schools. We're a people business. You're only as good as your teachers are. So we want to make sure that their needs are being met, that they have the kind of resources that they need to be effective in the classroom, which I think the community does a great job of funding the schools and providing the schools. But we also want to make sure that they have the kind of social and emotional support that they need to be effective, just like our students. If their needs aren't being met there, they're not going to be very effective in the classroom.
When you talk with parents and community members, what are some of the common questions or concerns they raise, and what positive feedback and ideas do they share?
I I think first and foremost, everybody's concerned about safety. You can't educate a child that doesn't feel safe in school, given what's happening in the world that we live in today. There's concerns about, are they getting the kind of curriculum and programming and training that they need to be effective at the next level? Are they learning to read, write, think, those kinds of things that they're going to be able to be competitive in a very competitive world that we're living in today? So I think we're doing a great job of doing those kinds of things here in Avon. Parents have been extremely supportive. They're heavily involved in their schools, a lot of parent engagement, and that makes us able to do what we're able to do with the kids.
In many towns, the school is a reflection of the community and the community a reflection of the school. I'm sure you have lots of partnerships and collaborations in the community. Can you talk about some of those? You mentioned before working with the city already.
Yeah, city's been a great partner. We're very fortunate here in Avon to have the number of businesses and industries that are located in our community. We've got various hospitals that are located here, just major corporations. They support our schools, not only financially, but also with their volunteers that work in the schools, things like that. It's really incredible the amount of resources that we have here in Avon, and the business and industry component of our community working side by side with the mayor and his initiatives. I think we make a great team.
I know last November the district's bond issue was not approved by voters. How is the district navigating its long-term facility and financial needs based on that outcome, and what steps do you see ahead?
That's going to be something that we will be addressing with our strategic planning process. I envision that part of that process will be developing and updating the master facilities plan, that we'll be taking a look at our needs in terms of elementary school level. Our high school and middle school are really nice facilities. They've been addressed here in the last 10, 15 years. We've got a stunning performing arts center that the community provided. But our elementary schools really are a little bit older, starting to really show their wear and tear. The district is having to invest a lot of money into the upkeep of some of those buildings. So we'll be looking at those kinds of questions, and that'll all be folded into our strategic planning process.
Overall, what do you see as the biggest challenges the district is facing right now? And conversely, what are the biggest opportunities ahead for your schools?
There's always challenges related to school funding. The legislature continues to try to, in their mind, attract business and industry to the state of Ohio, and they do that by offering tax incentives. And there's a lot of pressure on our elected officials to reduce taxes, just in general. So that shifts the burden of funding the schools more to the local community. And property taxes have continued to increase, and that's where we get the majority of our revenue sources comes from the local property tax. So that's a big challenge. I would say school funding. Technology continues to be a big challenge. How do we keep up with it? How do we make sure we're utilizing technology appropriately so that kids know how to use it, but aren't necessarily so reliant on it? The rise of artificial intelligence is a big one that's on the horizon there. We're all just learning more about it, trying to figure out what kind of impact that's going to have in our public schools. There's a lot of potential for good, but there's also a lot of challenges that are accompanied with that. We don't want to lose the human touch. We want our students to be able to effectively interact with other people so that they can learn to be good team members and good employees with whatever endeavor that they choose to pursue.
As you mentioned, Avon is an elite school district. I saw that Avon High School was ranked among the best schools in Ohio by U.S. News and World Report. First, how important are these rankings to you? And second, what factors do you believe lead to such a strong result?
The rankings, quite frankly, aren't that important to me. I know they're important to a lot of people. The rankings look at the curriculum that we provide students, the number of opportunities, the various classes, which we provide a very deep and wide curriculum. So that's an important measure, but also how our students perform. Our students are doing very well. We graduate almost 100% of our students in 4 years, which is a huge indication of the kind of work that we do here. The majority of our kids are going on to a 2 or a 4-year college, so that's an important factor as well. We're proud of that ranking, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot more that goes into the operation of an effective school than just those kind of metrics that are easy to measure, but they don't always get at what's important to the whole child.
What are your thoughts on the role of technology in education? I know you mentioned AI already. How do you see technology and AI changing the classroom and the ways the district operates?
I don't think anybody fully knows the answer to that question, but I think we all would recognize that it's not going away. Technology is here to stay. Artificial intelligence is here to stay. How we channel that resource is going to really, I think, determine our ability to be effective with our students moving forward. So it's a big challenge. The majority of our kids have some kind of device that they're operating our curriculum off of, Chromebook, whatever the device may be. Technology is here to stay. The age of paper, pencil, textbooks, those kinds of things is pretty much gone by the wayside now. We need to be strategic and efficient with our resources in terms of how we channel that technology and utilize it in our classrooms. So again, that's an ongoing question. Myself, I fall within that generation of people that are digital immigrants. So I wasn't really born with the technology that exists today,
Sure.
but the kids that we're working with are digital natives and they grew up with it, and they wouldn't expect anything different than having not only access to that, but being able to utilize that throughout the curriculum.
Besides technology, what trends in education are you seeing that affect the work you do as superintendent, and how is the district adapting to these changes?
There's a big trend in addressing the social and emotional needs of all of our students. One of the things I'm proud about here in Avon is that our mission really focuses on educating the whole child. So not just the cognitive part of the child that shows up on standardized tests, the social development of the child, the physical development, the emotional development. So I think you're seeing more and more a trend in schools where some of the stress from society that spills over into the schools shows up. And what you see in schools now, you see more social workers, which we have several social workers that are on our staff here in the Avon local schools. Concerns about safety. And we are well staffed with school resource officers. We have 3 of them right now, and we're in the process of adding a 4th one. So they'll be full-time in all of our buildings throughout the school year. Those kinds of needs that really get at more of the social and emotional development of our children, I think, are a unique focus where we're at today.
You mentioned that safety was a top priority. How does the district approach school safety and security? What measures are in place or being developed to ensure a safe learning environment for students and staff?
Yeah, safety's it's always a big concern. We're fortunate here in Avon that we live in a very safe community first and foremost. The times that we're living in today, parents feel safer if there's a police officer in the school during the school day. So our school resource officers really are there mainly to have a presence. They're not actively engaged in breaking up situations, fights, things like that that occur in school. They're really there more to build relationships with students and just to have a positive presence, to be there to mentor, to talk to kids, to counsel. Avon takes safety and well-being of students very seriously, and it shows up just by the amount of resources we have invested. To go along with that, we have a district safety committee that meets regularly. Our schools and principals are continually performing safety drills throughout the year so that in the event something were to take place, we'd be prepared and able to handle that. So a lot of preparation, a lot of planning along those lines. You just can't take it for granted. It's an easy thing to do, but at the same time, it's an important component of education because if kids don't feel safe, they're not going to be really ready and able to learn.
Well, let's switch over and talk about you. What's your background and what led you to the Avon superintendent position?
I'm from a family of educators. My dad was a teacher and a coach, and I grew up. That's all I wanted to be. Eventually, I found my way into a classroom. I spent the first 10 years of my professional life as a teacher and a coach, and then I gradually transitioned into administration, was a high school principal for about 10 years at a couple different schools. Primarily, my background is in Northwestern Ohio. I became the high school principal at Clay High School in Oregon, Ohio, and eventually the superintendent there for Oregon City Schools. And then I came over to Northeast Ohio, became the superintendent at North Olmsted Schools. So I was there for 8 years in North Olmsted, retired, served in Tiffin for about a year as their superintendent. And then I moved into higher education for a couple years, and I was the director of the educational administration program at Ursuline College. And then this position opened up here in Avon where they were looking for an interim superintendent. And I live right next door, so I thought it would be a good fit for me. And I can't tell you how happy I am to be here.
Along that same line, what has surprised you since you've taken the position that you didn't know when you were offered the position?
I don't think anything has really surprised me. I did step away from full-time work for about a year. Having stepped back into the position, the pace of the job was something I'm adjusting to, getting back up to speed. I kid around and for the last year, my primary job has been to drive my grandkids to their various after-school activities. So it's been a little bit of a transition getting back up to speed in the schools. But the great thing is that there are just so many great people here that have been just so welcoming and just offering to help. Transition continues to go. We just opened up the school year. So obviously this time of year, there's a lot going on with getting school kicked off and started. The pace it's been brisk.
Looking forward, what are your personal goals for the district? What would you like to accomplish in the coming years?
I understand that I was hired to be the interim. I have a 1-year contract, and I'm certainly going to give it my all this year. My major goal is to try to put a strategic planning process in place, and through that process, do some visioning and planning for the future as it relates to just all aspects of the school. The curriculum, or what do we need to be doing to address the future curricular needs of our students? Technology, we need to get a master plan ready for the technology department as well to make sure that we're thinking ahead and able to transition in the new technology where it needs to go. Facilities, master planning, of course, that's going to be front and foremost, as well as financial planning to make sure the district is on solid financial footing for the future. So all of those things will be addressed in a strategic planning process. So really, I think that's my major goal, to get that up and moving this year and to be able to present something to the board this spring where they could adopt it and then begin implementing it for the next year.
How would you describe your leadership style? What principles guide you, and who has influenced your approach to leadership the most?
I would describe my leadership style as being visionary. I very much come out of the emotional intelligence kind of school of leadership, where I'm very concerned about making sure people are self-aware of who they are and also socially aware of their environment, helping to understand that really in today's world, the leader's superpowers really revolve around listening and empathy and trying to put yourself into the other person's shoes and understand where it is they're coming from. That old adage, I think it was Stephen Covey who said, seek first to understand. I think that's really important. That's a big part of my leadership philosophy. Also, I'm very ingrained in the appreciative inquiry kind of school. Want to present a positive vision for the schools. Every school has problems. There are areas that we can improve on, places we can get better, but let's not forget to appreciate each other and appreciate the really amazing things that are taking place right now, and just start to try to build off of that for the future as well.
Outside of work, what are some of your hobbies and interests, and how do they help recharge you?
I've picked up running kind of later in my life, and so I really enjoy, I would call it jogging more so than running. I don't run competitively, but I do enjoy a good 5K, 10K, that type of distance. I've got some goals about maybe a half marathon and a marathon in the future, but running's been a big one. I've always been very active physically. I like sports, every different kind of sport. Love that this time of year, college football is coming back.
You're in Northwest Ohio, so Ohio State or Michigan?
Yeah, I'm a Buckeye, so there's no qualms about that. Although my dad was a Michigan State Spartan, so we got a little bit of Michigan in our family bloodlines. But no, I'm Ohio State. It's just a fun time of year. So all different kinds of outdoor activities, hiking, camping. I like to read. I like to play chess. I like interacting with my grandkids and just doing things with them.
Finally, where can people get more information about your school district and connect with you?
There's just a wealth of information on our website, Avon Local Schools. Certainly, I'll have some information about myself on the website as well. I'm easy to get a hold of. People can get my contact information right off the website, my email address, my phone number, and I'm more than happy to engage with them and find out what we can do better to serve the community.
Will there be opportunities for the community to be involved in the strategic planning?
Absolutely. When we're getting ready to begin that process, we will communicate that to the community, and certainly we want to involve our key community stakeholder groups and leaders in that process. But yeah, information will be going out about that in the very near future.
Thank you, Superintendent Zalar, for joining us and sharing your insights.
It was my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the LoraineCounty.com Insights Podcast. Each episode, we share conversations with the people shaping life in Lorain County, from business and government to education, nonprofits, healthcare, and entertainment. Be sure to follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. You can also visit LoraineCounty.com to discover local events, volunteer opportunities, and more community resources. If you know someone who's making a difference in Lorain County, send us a note at podcast@LoraineCounty.com. We would love to share their story and insights. Special thanks to our producer, Leah Gerke, and to you for listening. This has been the LoraineCounty.com Insights Podcast, conversations with the people shaping Lorain County.